You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? We are repeating the 1970s, the late 1970s with Jimmy Carter. Yes, we are repeating it all when America was down in the dumps, when we had no respect around the world, when prices were rising and we had double digit inflation, when America had a kick me sign in the United Nations and around the world. We are repeating those times. And you know what has brought this out but is really not the cause of this? The colonial pipeline shutdown. Now, we all know, if you've been watching the news from over the weekend, that the colonial pipeline was shut down because of hackers. Joe Biden is claiming, or at least implying, that they are the Russians. Everything is the Russians. But regardless of this, we are not prepared for shutdowns like this. We're not prepared. Now there is a gas shortage. There is a gas shortage throughout the East Coast. If you live in the East Coast, which people watching this generally do not, unless you're watching this online and outside North Dakota, you're waiting in line, and guess what? For nothing. There is no gas there. This is a preview, a very vivid preview of what will happen under Joe Biden's Green Energy New Deal that he is instituting. He claimed when he was running for president, he wasn't for this, that he wasn't with the AOCs and the Bernies of the world, but he in fact is. And in fact, everything he's doing now is what they wanted. He shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. That will The Keystone XL pipeline wasn't fully functional yet, but that will cut down on the oil supply in America. He wants to shut down the Dakota Access Pipeline. And as we've noted on this show, Green Bay Packers quarterback and Jeopardy host wannabe Aaron Rodgers and his girlfriend, Shailene Woodley, a talentless hack of an actress, they signed, yes, he and the actress signed a letter along with other left wing woke celebrities like Hanoi Jane Fonda, demanding that asking that Joe Biden also yank the permit for the Dakota Access Pipeline. And that is in the courts right now. And Joe Biden's Army Corps of Engineers isn't sure that they want to let this go forward and continue to let oil flow through the pipeline. So this is what's going on now. You also have in Michigan Governor and frankly Michigan Führer in Chief Gretchen Whitmer, who rules by fiat. There's no democracy in Michigan right now. She rules by fiat. She has ordered the Line 5 pipeline from Enbridge to be shut down. Let's say that is shut down too. It won't be, but it's supposed to be shut down by midnight tomorrow night. That creates huge gas shortages all over America, and the market is already responding. There is no gas on the East Coast, but prices where there is gas have adjusted, and they are sky high. The average price across the country is $2.99, but in most places it's actually higher. It is above $3, or at least at $3. You go to places like California, it's above $6. $6 a gallon. Can you imagine that? Who could afford to drive? It makes it very, very expensive, and that is the point. Joe Biden wants this. He is happy and he and his minions are happy that the pipeline was hacked. They're glad. They want Americans to get off of gasoline and get onto electric vehicles. And as we've discussed, electric vehicles are not sustainable. You run out of your electric charge in the middle of nowhere, good luck. You know how much it costs to tow a Tesla? Let alone the price of a Tesla, which the base price is at least $100,000 for a low-level model. A regular model fully loaded is a lot more than that. You know how much it costs to tow a Tesla? $2,000 at least. At least $2,000. And it depends how far away you are from civilization, how far you are from a metro area. He wants us to go to that system. he also wants this to happen because he wants his $2 trillion faux infrastructure bill that has nothing to do with infrastructure and everything to do with woke fantasies being funded. He wants that to happen. And when Americans see there's no gas and they have to wait in line and they're upset, this is his way of pushing his agenda of electric cars. So I want you to watch some video. And before we show it to you, this reminded me in stark detail of the Carter years. Now, I remember Jimmy Carter. I was very, very young. I'm 52. So I was around and I was old enough to understand what was going on when Jimmy Carter was president. And I remember campaigning with my dad during that time for the election of Ronald Reagan, which was one of the best days in American history in my lifetime. One of the best days, actually, for me was when I got to meet Ronald Reagan at the White House. And I got to meet him a few times, and it was magical each and every time. It did not wear off. But I'm telling you, Jimmy Carter was that bad that even I, as a young kid, understood what was going on. By the end of the Carter years, I was 9 or 10, and I knew exactly what was happening to America. We were not as proud as we once were. We were actually embarrassed. Our heads were not held high. They were low. We were looking down. We were being beaten by foreign countries, the Japanese, yes, in the auto industry. And they owned a lot of America. Now it's the Chinese. So it's still Asians, but in those days it was the Japanese that we were being beaten by. They were beating us in almost every market that counted, in manufacturing, in the auto industry, in owning American real estate and property. I always say, remember the good old days when the Japanese owned everything? That was then. And in those days, we didn't think it was so good. But believe me, it's a lot better than what we have now under Joe Biden. So I want you to watch this video and tell me if this reminds you of the Carter years too. Take a look.
This is the QT gas station on Celanese around 9:30 at night. They are out of gas. Everybody sitting here is not getting gas. Everything except diesel is out. What they just told me.
All right. That is what happened during the Carter years. The gas stations might not have been as high-tech or modern as they are now, but it was the same thing. There were lines. We didn't have smartphones to document it, or I think Jimmy Carter would have been finished a lot more easily and a lot more quickly and sooner. But that was what was happening. People were lined up in their cars and they could not get gas. There was an oil shortage, just like what we have right now, because we're not prepared. And the reason we're not prepared is because while Donald Trump gave permits to expand pipelines and expand oil production in America, Joe Biden is shutting it down with the help of liberal governors like Gretchen Whitmer, who, as I've told you repeatedly, is a serial job killer, a serial business killer. She's a serial killer, period. And she's a serial killer of senior citizens in nursing homes as well. So this is what's going on. I want you to take a look at a couple of tweets from me about this. Let's take a look at the first one. Oh my God, this is America when Joe Biden shuts down the Keystone XL pipeline and another pipeline is hacked. Green energy is a disaster. This is what AOC and Bernie want to happen to you while they get driven around. And that's right. Have you ever seen pictures of AOC or Bernie getting out of a car? They're always being driven around in some giant gas-guzzling SUV or some luxury car that also uses a lot of gas. But they want you to ride the bus, to ride the train, to drive electric cars. They aren't, because they're the big people and you're just the little people. You don't count. Rules for me and not for thee, or rules for thee but not for me. All right, now let's take a look at my second tweet on this. All right, remember Jimmy Carter's gas lines? They're back under Joe Biden. Soon to come, a la the new Jimma. The new Jimma is Joe Biden, a.k.a. Joe. Double-digit inflation, a kick-me sign on America's back around the world, etc. Cue the Malaise Days speech. Let me explain this to you. Jimmy Carter gave a speech where he called these the Malaise Days. Now, you know what malaise is. Malaise is when you don't care about anything, you're kind of down in the dumps, you're just sitting there, you're not doing anything, you're inert. We were in the Malaise days. Nobody did anything to change this until They went and they got Ronald Reagan elected. And don't forget, we had hostages in Iran for 444 days. We had our embassy taken over by the Iranians. We had the entire UN screaming and yelling at us. And we had a UN representative who was horrible, that was Jimmy Carter's, who just took that. Ronald Reagan changed all of that with the Reagan Revolution. And we need a new Reagan Revolution. Is it going to be a DeSantis revolution? I believe so. I think he's the only one, really, that I see on the horizon. And remember, 4 years or 3.5 is a long time in politics. Anything can happen. New people can come on the scene. But right now, I think Ron DeSantis is really the only one that can save America from what you saw in that video. Now, before we go to the break, I just want you to take a look at one last thing, and this is about Jimmy Carter. So Twitter has now decided that they are going to have an editorial policy, aside from silencing Donald Trump and other people who are conservatives. They have decided that in their trending and news stories on the side, trending terms, trending stories, they have decided that they are going to take an editorial position. And here's what they've taken on Jimmy Carter. Take a look at this. So Donald Trump tweeted against Jimmy Carter, and he said he's not the next, that Joe Biden is not the next FDR. He's the next Jimmy Carter, which either way, both of them were bad presidents, but Jimmy Carter was far worse. And frankly, Joe Biden is making Jimmy Carter look Reagan-esque almost. Given that, and so Twitter is saying, oh, but why is that an insult to say someone's the next Jimmy Carter? I mean, after all, he's a Nobel Peace Prize winner whose humanitarian record is largely respected. Really? Speak for yourself. You know who else was a Nobel Peace Prize winner? The PLO terrorist in chief, Yasser Arafat, who murdered our American diplomats at the Sudan embassy, our Sudan ambassador, Cleo Noel, and our highest-ranking black diplomat, the chargé d'affaires, George Curtis Moore. He murdered them. We have it on tape. And we know this, that he ordered it, because our submarines detected what he was saying when he was in Tunis at the PLO headquarters, which was there at the time. Yasser Arafat, he won a Nobel Peace Prize, so who cares that Jimmy Carter won one? But Twitter is telling you Jimmy Carter's a good guy. Who is Donald Trump to attack him? He's a great guy. No, he isn't. All right, when we come back, NBC and the celebrities are canceling the Golden Globes, and we'll tell you why they are hypocrites, because even though it's a Hollywood story and who cares, it is a microcosm into the woke crowd and the Hollywood crowd that I think speaks volumes. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So this is an inside baseball Hollywood story. So normally you shouldn't care about it and I shouldn't. But I do care about it and you should do because it shows what hypocrites the woke crowd is. Specifically, it's Hollywood contingent, but frankly, all of them. So yesterday, the network NBC announced that it is no longer going to carry the Golden Globes awards show. First of all, it doesn't get any ratings. So if NBC thought it could make a ton of money, it would still run it. They're not doing anything out of the kindness of their woke heart. As I've told you before, all of these companies do calculations. They're not woke. This is branding. It's virtue signaling. They've made the calculations. They know nobody watches this show anyway. Nobody watches any of these awards shows anymore because we're sick of this woke baloney. But this is the least watched of them. It's voted on by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. So these are people from like Nigeria and Fiji and Antarctica maybe? These are people from the middle of nowhere that vote on movies you've never seen and celebrities you don't care about. And that's why people win awards at these shows that never win anywhere else. And so apparently there aren't enough Nigerians voting on this because the Hollywood woke crowd, which is mostly white liberals who are very wealthy and don't care about woke, but they are virtue signaling to get attention, they're whining that there aren't enough minorities in the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. And in fact, this past year when they had their awards, the two hostesses, who are the typical Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, whined that there weren't any minorities. And I'm thinking, well, look in the mirror. You're as pale as a ghost, both of you. You're white. You're not giving up your host jobs for some minority. You aren't. These are the hypocrites. And these are all hypocrites because NBC, they run plenty of stuff that's all white, and they run plenty of stuff that's all black. In fact, very little of it is all white anymore, but a lot of it is all black, and they don't have any problem with not having diversity in that category. So I sent out a couple of tweets about this, and we'll get to the Tom Cruise thing in a minute, but first take a look at my tweet about NBC and how hypocritical they are. So I said, and yet NBC aired NFL and NBA games, none of which are very diverse. Yes, I know that they're not doing NBA games now, but they were in the past, in the recent past. None of which are very diverse or even close. Ditto for their live telecast of The Wiz, which was not too long ago, for which their casting calls specified blacks only, no whites. And this is the thing. Have you ever looked at the racial makeup of the NFL and the NBA? Well, by the latest figures, the NBA is over 90% black, over 90%. It may be up to 95% these days. The NFL is over 80% black. By some counts, I've seen 77, 75. I believe it's actually probably up to 85 now. So these are not diverse organizations. They are almost completely black. And NBC does not care about the diversity in that case. Why? Because in athletics, it's about talent. You don't care about skin color. You're not supposed to. And that's where people shine based sheerly on their God-given talents, their perspiration, their inspiration, and their execution of both. Well, that's what they should be doing in every other category, whether it's acting or whether it is news shows, anything. It should have nothing to do with skin color, even with award shows, but they're getting rid of this because they're pretending it's about skin color. And let's be honest, it's about ratings, or they would have stopped carrying this a long time ago, which I think they've realized finally they should. All right, now, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, last time I checked, he's white. Got white skin, as white as the driven snow. Well, he's upset about the lack of minorities at the Hollywood Foreign Press Association also. So reportedly, he's driven there, or probably had his assistant. Maybe he's got a black assistant. Maybe he's diverse that way. But he had somebody drive there and give back his 3 trophies he won from them. Nobody would have even known he had 3 trophies or any. I'm not even thinking about him now, are you? But this is his way to get his name back in the news because remember, most of his recent movies have been flops. They've been duds. He is not a box office winner anymore. This is a publicity stunt. Now, most of Tom Cruise's movies have mostly a white cast. And guess what? Tom Cruise produces most of these movies. Is he replacing himself on Mission Impossible movies with somebody black? No. Is he replacing himself in the Top Gun remake that's coming out supposedly around the holidays with somebody black? No. Is he replacing most of the people in that cast with blacks? No. He doesn't care about diversity. He's a fraud. Oh, by the way, remember Risky Business? Well, most of the customers of the prostitute played by Rebecca De Mornay, they were white too. So maybe he should have fought for diversity among Johns also. These people are frauds. They're hypocrites. And the woke crowd is woke for you, but not for them. Please, nobody cares what happens to Tom Cruise's trophies. All right, when we come back, what is going on in Israel with the Hamas terrorists? I will explain it to you because the mainstream media is not. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not 1, not 2, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So I want to tell you what's going on in Israel because this has a big relationship with President Trump. And you never saw this happening. And I got to read you a tweet from the president because you never saw this happening under President Trump. You never saw this kind of violence. President Trump, as I've been telling you on this show, had peace in the Middle East, relatively speaking. Nothing happened there while he was president. I think at the very beginning of his presidency, you had him bomb Syria, which I did not support. But because of some children, some pictures he saw of babies, it affected him. So he bombed some empty buildings. It was a waste of money, a waste of time, and a waste of American lucre, frankly, a waste of our tax dollars. But after that, nothing really happened in the Middle East. In fact, most of them were afraid of President Trump, and they knew that if they tried anything, he would come down on them. And I think that if there was any purpose of that bombing in Syria, that was it. And I think it achieved the purpose, so maybe it wasn't such a waste. But none of these countries said, we're going to do what we want, because President Trump showed them, no. And if you don't know this, or you don't remember, I'll remind you. Do you remember the Iranians attacked our ships? They attacked our Navy. Trump attacked them back very strongly. And remember, he murdered, I shouldn't say murdered because murder is a different word. It's taking somebody's life when it's not justified. He killed a top Iranian commander, Soleimani. Do you remember that? I remember it. You should remember it because the whole world feared him because of that. And definitely the whole Middle East did. And he brought peace to the Middle East through that and through the 4 peace deals he did between Israel and Muslim countries that nobody believed was possible. So he put out a statement today, and we didn't get it for the screen because it came out right before the airing of this show. But I want to read you some of this because it relates to what is going on in Israel now. So President Trump said, when I was in office, we were known as the peace presidency because Israel's adversaries knew that the United States stood strongly with Israel. They knew exactly. That's why these kinds of things going on with Hamas are going on now, because Joe Biden is weak. He supports our enemies, not our friends like Israel, and this is why this is happening. Hamas knows they will get away with it. They did try stuff during the Trump administration. It went nowhere. Israel attacked them swiftly. Trump spoke out against them, and that was the end. This has been going on for a little bit. And let me just tell you what I mean by that. So this all started last week. And let me tell you what is happening. So a bunch of Jewish property owners in Jerusalem evicted their tenants. They want to do something else with the property. The tenants weren't paying money. They owed rent and so on. And any tenant can do whatever they want with their property. But apparently, the left and the Palestinians believe in redlining. They're racist, they're bigots, and they believe that Jews should not be allowed to own property there. Jews should be able to own property anywhere they want, just as blacks should, just as whites should, just as Catholics should, and Protestants, and so on. And Jews, this should not be the case anywhere in the world. But this is how the Palestinian Muslims feel. They do not want Jews to be able to have civil rights in their own country. Remember, Israel is the Jewish state. Palestinians have more civil rights in Israel than in any Muslim country, any Arab nation around the world. But they do not believe that Jews should have civil rights. So this is what this is all about. There's a neighborhood called Sheikh Jarrah. It's named after a Muslim named Sheikh Jarrah. He was a sheikh. And these Jews own property there. They've evicted their residents, as they are allowed to do, just as a landlord anywhere in Bismarck, North Dakota, in Houston, Texas, in Detroit, Michigan, in Los Angeles, California, anywhere should be allowed to evict their tenants according to the law. They don't like that, so they started riots because they believe in redlining, just like the Nazis did. Jews can't live here, Jews can't own property, Jews can't do this, Jews can't do that. This is like the Nazis. It is exactly like the Nuremberg laws that the Nazis had against Jews. So, this is what started it all. So then they had riots on what's known as the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount is the holiest site in Judaism. It is the Holy of Holies section of the Jewish temple where the high priest used to be. And as you may know, maybe you don't know, they built their mosque, the Mosque of Omar, the Dome of the Rock, on top of it. And there's also the Al-Aqsa Mosque, but it's actually not that mosque. But they built it on top, or that is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They built it on top of the Holy of Holies of the Jewish temple. And they get to pray there. Guess what? Israel does not let the Jews pray there. This is the holiest site in Judaism, and the Jews cannot pray there. The Muslims can. So the Muslims are holding riots saying, we can't pray freely. We can't have riots over property ownership and evictions. They're liars. They are having riots. They've gotten nothing done wrong to them. All their civil rights have been upheld. What they want is no Jews in Israel. Now, they claim they have the right to the so-called West Bank, the old city of Jerusalem, and so on. But I want you to see they had riots over the weekend and last week calling for the bombing, this is at their mosque, calling for the bombing of Tel Aviv, which is outside the Green Line. It's not part of what's known as Old Palestine, so which was never theirs in the first place. It was part of Jordan, Transjordan. It was never a Palestinian state. And when it was Palestine, it was a Jewish state. The majority of so-called Palestinians then were Jews. So I want you to first watch this video. I'm taking it out of order, but this is them cheering to bomb Tel Aviv. Take a look. So you can see their mosque, the Dome of the Rock in the background, and that golden domed mosque. And they are shouting to bomb Tel Aviv. And this is the thing. They don't want Jews just out of what they claim is Palestinian lands, which isn't. It's not Palestinian lands. You should be able to buy a house wherever you want. And Jerusalem has always been the Jewish capital throughout history. It's the eternal Jewish capital. But let's say it was Palestinian land. So what? They sold to the Jews. That's their property. So these people want to bomb Tel Aviv, which is not Jerusalem. Why do they want that? Because they want Jews completely out of the Middle East. And then they want them out of the rest of the world. They want us off the planet, out of the universe, just out of existence. That's what's going on here. And what does this have to do with not just Joe Biden, but Barack Obama? We will show you after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got my pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money.
So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty. You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more. Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were showing you the precursor to what happened, what's going on in Israel right now with the rockets and the missiles that Hamas is sending into the country, designed to kill as many people as possible. First, they used the pretext, and let's face it, this was not the real excuse. They just want to have an uprising now that Joe Biden's in power and is on their side. He is on the side of Islamic terrorists. Remember, he helped negotiate and he supports the Iran deal. And Iran supports Hamas. They fund Hamas and Hezbollah, which is the terrorist group that murdered more Americans than any other than Al-Qaeda. More than ISIS, by the way. So Joe Biden is a weak president. He supports Islamic terrorists. They know they can get away with this. And not only that, but he has sent funding back to Hamas, your taxpayer dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. He's restored it. Donald Trump shut it down. He starved them, not food-wise, but he starved them of the money for terrorist weapons and the money to use taxpayer dollars at American taxpayer expense to say, oh, look, we're doing this for the Palestinians, we're doing that for the Palestinians, which really what they were doing is they were recruiting Hamas terrorist leaders and training them. That's what they were doing with your money. So we showed you, or we told you about the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood in the old city of Jerusalem where Jews own property. Like anybody's allowed to own property. And people got evicted. So they used that as a pretext for riots. And you saw the riots in front of their mosque shouting for bombing of Tel Aviv. And then right after that, Hamas started showering rockets on Israel. Now, you probably heard the one-sided mainstream media stories that, 20-something Palestinian children were killed. First of all, we don't know that. They always say that, and then it always turns out that there were kids who died from some disease or they were dead from some other thing from a while ago, and they trot out their bodies, and that Israel ended up killing none of them. But let's say some kids died. Let's assume for argument's sake. You know what? I'm sorry kids died, but the young kids in Gaza, they are trained to become terrorists. And if Hamas did not send rockets to Israel to try and kill its citizens, and it did kill some and injure many, several, then they would not have these children dead. They don't care about the children. They use children as human shields. We all know that. All right? And Israel has something called Iron Dome. Iron Dome was developed by Israel. They actually have shared the technology with the United States, and we used it in the first war against Iraq back in the day under George Herbert Walker Bush. So Iron Dome shoots down rockets and missiles. Now, you're being told, well, Israel's responding disproportionately. That is the Biden administration response. Let me give you some figures. You're being told there are only 400 Palestinian rockets that have been sent, Hamas terrorist rockets. Wrong. There have been 1,000 Palestinian rockets, Hamas terrorist rockets sent into Israel for every one that Israel sent the other way. So if you want to talk about disproportionate, that's the disproportionate. Yes, Israel's responding disproportionately. They're only sending one missile back for every 1,000 that are being sent their way. And this Iron Dome system, it's very good, but it's not perfect. They don't get all the missiles. Some Israeli women were killed, and some Israelis were injured. Is it Israel's fault that they have a better system than the Palestinians to shoot down terrorist rockets that the Palestinians are sending? Hell no. I'm glad. Good for them. They shouldn't apologize for having one of the greatest defenses on earth of any country. It's because they are technological wizards, and they've had to be, because they have to survive amidst all these people that hate them. All right, so I want you to take a look at a few tweets. Now, this is related to Joe Biden blaming Israel. This is Ben Rhodes. If you don't remember Ben Rhodes, he was a novelist and a speechwriter who got picked by Barack Obama to become his national security advisor. He didn't pass the FBI background check. The FBI did not want the Obama administration to hire him, but he got confirmed because Republicans in the Senate are wimps, and they voted for him. So he sent out this tweet, just try for a moment to look at the world through the eyes of a Palestinian child. Oh, so touching. Well, the Palestinian child wouldn't have been hit if they didn't attack Israel. Look at my response. I think we have my response tweet. Daddy, why do you keep sending missiles to kill Israelis and then get mad when they respond? Also, why does this idiot Ben Rhodes keep defending you for doing so? That's my looking at the world through the eyes of a Palestinian child. And then there is Sami Zayn. You may not have heard of Sami Zayn unless you follow World Wrestling Enterprises. Yes, Sami Zayn is a Canadian WWE wrestler. All right, now he got mad that Andrew Yang, remember him, one of the Democrat candidates for president? He's running for mayor of New York, and he's actually the sane one compared to the Marxist Bill de Blasio. And he tweeted out a tweet in support of Israel, which is not typical of the left, but Andrew Yang apparently thinks for himself. Good for him. So Sami Zayn tweeted against him, and I responded. Take a look at my tweet. Do we have my tweet? All right. WWE wrestler openly supports Hamas. I warn you this was going to happen because I said that as WWE goes into the Muslim world, and now a lot of the Muslim countries own the majority of WWE, they were going and of MMA and all of these groups, they were going to kowtow to terrorists. And this guy, Sami Zayn, acts like Hamas and the Palestinians in Gaza didn't just shower Israel with deadly rockets and missiles. Yeah, that's what he's acting like. So whenever you see this WWE wrestler, Sami Zayn, remember that. Number one, he's a liar. Number two, he's a fraud. Number three, he's an idiot. And number four, and most importantly, he supports Islamic terrorists like the ones who murdered 3,000 Americans on 9/11 and many more. San Bernardino, Fort Hood, and the Boston Marathon, the Pulse nightclub, and so on. He supports that. That is no different than what's going on in Israel. All right, when we come back, we will have a little bit more about that. And then, you are not going to believe this. The British royal family and Georgia have something in common. They're both racist. And we will show you what I'm talking about. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me. We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. What happens with national debt? Does anybody even care anymore? Do you think Governor Burgum truly understands the legislative process?
You know, I think he's got a better understanding now than he did 2 years ago.
Why in the world are we having a conversation about being anti-vaccination? Down the road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we are talking about what is going on in Israel and how this has basically been caused by the Obama administration for doing the Iran deal and strengthening Hamas. And they were just waiting until Donald Trump left office, and by Joe Biden, who is a part and parcel of all of this and who supports this and who is a weak president. So I want to show you more of what is going on in Israel. So we have a tweet from Hanania Naftali, who is a prominent social media guy in Israel. So Hanania Naftali sent out a video. The video it's not really good, so we're not going to show it to you, but the video does back up what he's saying. He said Arabs set on fire a synagogue in the Israeli city of Lod. In the video, you can see Jews rescuing Torah scrolls in the middle of the night from burning. In our one and only Jewish state, we are being attacked. And this is happening. They are setting fire to synagogues. This is like what the Nazis did. They set fire to synagogues. They said Jews can't own property here and there. These people are exactly like the Nazis. Exactly like the Nazis with the racial purity laws. Only people of a certain race, only Palestinians can own property in the old city. Only we can have mosques. We can only have our houses of prayer. Yours should be burnt down to the ground and destroyed. This is what they're doing. Bomb Tel Aviv. We want all Jews out. This is what they're doing. All right, and by the way, Lod is also in the same portion of Israel as Tel Aviv. It is in the green zone. It is not in what they claim is the West Bank. They just are attacking Israel all over the place. And there is so much more, but we're only an hour show. So I can't show you everything, but we have seen videos and pictures of Jews because they had beards and skull caps were being attacked by gangs of Arab Muslims. This is going on. This is just like the Nazis, like what they did on Kristallnacht, the night of the breaking of the crystal glass in Germany, which was largely considered the beginning of the Holocaust, when they rounded up Jews to go to their deaths in the gas chambers of Auschwitz. This is what's going on in Israel now because of the weak Joe Biden, who is blaming Israel on this. Really, it's Israel's fault that Hamas is sending rockets? No. It's your fault, Joe Biden, because you are doing nothing to stop it, and you're on the wrong side, which is Iran and Hamas. All right, so there's that. Now, this is at least a great karma video, one of the best karma videos I've ever seen. So to set this up, a Palestinian is setting fire to the Israeli flag, and look what happens. Take a look. So sad, too bad. By the way, the Hebrew on there says Abu Ali, which is that guy's name, Abu Ali, the father of Ali. You know, they go by those names, Abu Ali, Abu Muhammad, and so on. So there's that. Now, we're always told, well, these Palestinians are so oppressed. This is why they do this. They have no choice. Israel oppresses them and makes them poor and drives them into poverty. No. This is a lie. Many of these terrorists are highly educated. They're doctors, they're engineers, they're lawyers, and they come from very wealthy families. They themselves are very wealthy. They live in mansions. So last week, one of the Palestinian terrorists that was caught trying to foment an attack, look at his house. We've got a tweet about this. All right. According to Palestinian reports, the home of Mutasir Shalabi, who was arrested for killing one Israeli, so he did carry out his terrorist attack, and injuring two others in a drive-by shooting, has been inspected for demolition by the IDF, because that's what they do, is they demolish the homes of terrorists. Look at that. Does that look like a poor person to you? Look at this. There's that nice little swing on the side. That's a very fancy house. They cost a lot of money. And what you could pay for that house in your average middle-class city in North America, you would pay way more over there in the Palestinian territories, the Palestinian Authority. That would cost a lot more. That's like a $1 to $2 million home at least over there. They are not oppressed or in the least. All right. Now, let's get on to something else. So we've been told that the Georgia election law that is all about ID, and now the Florida election law that we showed you Ron DeSantis signed into law, that they're racist. What? We showed you videos. Black people have ID. They have driver's licenses. It's white liberals that are racist because they're assuming in their racist minds that blacks are not smart enough to know how to get ID. They're just as smart as anybody to get their ID. They know what they're doing. Don't be a racist. That's what they are. Liberals are racist. But we've been told this is racist. And we also were told, by the way, by Meghan Markle, who is part black, that the British royal family is racist, which is hilarious because they married off to her. I mean, basically, Prince Harry married her as a branding tool, let's be honest, because they know that the UK is becoming more black and they wanted a more diverse royal family. She was a form of virtue signaling. And he married somebody who was black like Rashida Jones, not Leslie Jones, for a reason. So she said they were racist. Well, now we finally have the evidence because look what Queen Elizabeth has done. Take a look at this tweet. The Queen of England will announce tomorrow that citizens will be required, this is from yesterday, so it announced today, will be required to show photo ID to vote in general elections in order to prevent fraud. Oh my God, that's so racist. Oh my God. So just like Georgia, apparently Britain is racist. You heard it here first. All right, so there's that. Now, this Georgia election law, I want you to take a look at 3 tweets from the Hotline. The Hotline is a liberal media outlet that is owned by National Journal. Take a look at these polls. So this is from Josh Krushauer from the Hotline. The first poll, Atlanta Journal-Constitution poll of Georgia voters on the new election law. 46% approve, 44% disapprove. So 2% above water. Notably, 25% of African Americans support the Georgia law, a notably higher share than typically vote Democrat in the state of Georgia. Also notable, do you support American companies using their public role, position, or events to influence political culture and social change? 60% oppose. Only a third support, 33%. Remember, I mean, look at this. Blacks, 25% of them support this. People support this law. People want ID. I told you this. Remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.